Hello, everyone. This time, we're talking about a video game series that is so near and dear to my heart, Dark Souls.
Dark Souls it is.
Dark Souls. We have a dark beer, an Estus flask, a beautiful candle.
I'm not as familiar with Dark Souls. I have not played Dark Souls. Like, I briefly played Dark Souls the other day.
She did.
When we were doing Extra Life for charity streaming. We played around with the idea of doing some co-op Dark Souls. So to see if it would be like even possible, I made a character in Dark Souls 1 just to get to the first tutorial boss. I did not beat the first tutorial boss.
And you got
past halfway.
You got it very close. It's Dark Souls 3, by the way.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we were playing Dark Souls 3 at 110% because it was Index Gundyr. Yeah.
Okay. But you, I think Dark Souls is probably like one of your like top 3 favorite things in life.
Yes.
Dark Souls, The Dark Tower, and me.
Yeah. You wouldn't be 3. Oh,
Well, they weren't in order.
I would say you, Dark Tower,
Dark Tower,
Dark Souls,
there's a lot of dark in there.
cheddar cheese. I'm not tooting any horns here, especially not my own. But I've beaten Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne. What else?
You love them all.
I love them so very much. I love the atmosphere. I love the story. I love all of, like, the levels are so amazing. And the bosses. I mean, the bosses, of course, are the main attraction to Dark Souls. I'm very excited.
Yeah. I guess what we're trying to do is, as usual, kind of distill Dark Souls down to its essence. So even though I haven't played the games, I do feel like I kind of have a sense of them, or a pretty good working knowledge of them, just because you talk to me about them a lot. I know Solaire, I know Artorias, and I know Sif, and I know Quelaag. That's a thing.
Yeah.
Dark Souls is definitely known for its difficulty, of course, but also its like aesthetic. The design of the levels, the design of the creatures, and you were mentioning one I thought was really good too. The sound design, super good.
The sound design is very important because you'll be walking somewhere and you'll hear footsteps behind you and you'll just be like, oh dang!
One thing that I've noticed about Dark Souls that probably isn't something people think about a lot, but that I am entertained by in it or fascinated by is there's a good sense of like camaraderie. Like among the players.
Yes.
I know you
so
get
much
invaders, and sometimes that brings some aggression and PvP to the game, but like it's that weird, magical, perfect kind of camaraderie you get between people in games with limited communication, where people can't actually speak to each other.
Yes.
They have to communicate through like emotes
and gestures
and
yeah.
like leaving little notes on the ground, but they can't type anything they want. They have to like pick from, you know, refrigerator alphabet magnets to like make a note for people. And I love that. Which is funny because it's also a game that I feel like has a really heavy sense of like solitude. You know, your character is like alone. Oh, he's starting to drink the Estus.
I need to be revitalized.
So I didn't have a style in mind.
Mm-hmm.
But what I did kind of do is write down just like Dark Souls style notes, you know? And maybe you can tell me what beer it would be. So I have tradition/lore. So maybe like tradition, lore, dungeons, mystery.
Oh, I love mystery.
Musty.
I love must.
Mossy, fire and ash.
Oh.
And stone.
Why stone?
There's a lot of stone, especially with the musty, mossy kind of thing. I thought there's gotta be hops or yeasts that could.
There are dank hops.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. For some reason, I kind of thought of the voice actors and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's like maybe you could make like a Irish or Scottish kind of style or something.
I like all of these ideas.
Yeah.
The main thing I was thinking of when going to this, I wanted to make an Estus flask. Something that would fill an Estus flask. Something refreshing, golden, and pungent to keep you going. Also, there's the obvious thing where you could just make the deepest, darkest stout that you would ever want to make.
Yeah.
And I can do that. I like stouts enough that I could do that. I don't know if you do, though.
Well, I mean, that's fine if I don't. I also kind of felt like that was maybe a little on the nose. That was just kind of like the first place I thought people will go if you say you're making a Dark Souls beer. Oh, it's going to be dark. It's going to be a stout.
Yeah.
What if it wasn't? That's why I liked when you said the Estus Flask thing, because it's sort of the opposite of where you think people would go with a Dark Souls beer. But there is a lot of light stuff in that Dark Souls.
There is a beer in Dark Souls.
What?
It's called Siegbräu. It is a beverage that even undead people would love. He carries it around in his barrel mug.
I think we just have to make real life
Siegbräu. I would really like to do that. I almost think, though, to do that, I would have to barrel age it to an extent. Do you like the idea of doing an Estus beer?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. I think we've agreed that we could make a effervescent, life-affirming Estus beer, similar to Siegbräu.
Siegbräu.
Yes. A medium to strong Belgian beer. Golden in color, high in spirits. Oh, it's going to be great.
I expect it to glow.
Oh, it will.
Okay.
I'll put a light under it. All right, we're going to brew it. We'll be back in a minute.
Excited.
Welcome to my bonfire, everyone. After a little more deliberation, we decided to make a lemongrass and ginger saison for our Dark Souls beer. The ginger is refreshing, and the lemongrass gives it that herbal quality that I think of when imagining a potion or something that would restore health to your character. We also chose saison because it's a fairly simple beer recipe that contains a lot of complexity, just like Dark Souls. I started the brew day by adding my water additions. This beer requires 2.1 grams Epsom salt, 2.8 grams gypsum, and 3.7 grams calcium chloride. This mix helps make a beer that is light and balanced without much hop bitterness. Remember, it's always important to wear proper hand protection when working with hot liquids. At least until you realize how hard it is to do anything while wearing gauntlets. As I said before, this beer is really simple. All I used was 10 pounds of Belgian Pilsner malt for the grain bill. The first hop addition of the day was half an ounce of Horizon hops at 30 minutes into the boil. I like Horizon hops because they have a more mild bitterness than other popular bittering hops. The second hop addition was 0.25 ounces of Calypso hops at 10 minutes. Calypso hops are known for their pronounced fruit flavor as well as black pepper, and that's what I really wanted for this beer. This is also when I added 0.75 ounces of freshly grated ginger. The last hop addition was another 0.25 ounces of Calypso hops with 5 minutes left in the boil. This was accompanied by 0.75 ounces of lemongrass. I found that adding the lemongrass with about 5 minutes left in the boil really gives you that flavor that you're looking for. We're back.
The ritual is complete. Cheers. Woo!
Wood. All right, let's have some real glasses now.
Yeah, now you can see it properly. Heating your beer, that's a sin, I think.
Depends on where you're from. Let's give it the old smell. I don't smell a whole lot because I have really bad allergies.
Yeah.
But I can definitely smell that saison yeast character. It's fruity, kind of spicy.
I really like the smell. I know you don't like when I say it, but like, I know it's not 100% accurate, but I feel like I smell banana.
Banana?
But not. It's like
it's okay if you smell
it's a lemony banana, like banana.
It can be that yeast character because you can get bananas, you can get cloves, you can. I use the white yeast farmhouse blend. I've never used that before because I also thought having like a farmhouse beer would be kind of cool for a rustic setting like Dark Souls. All right, well, let's taste it. I'm tired of sniffing
I
it.
think I just drank it while we were talking.
Right away to me, I get that kind of herbal taste from the lemongrass. I don't get very much ginger, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Then that is why I chopped up all this ginger,
Yes.
because I kind of wanted to see what it would taste like if I increased it next time. Yeah, it's interesting. This was one of the toughest brew days I've had in years.
Oh, yeah.
It was, I mean, it's the most simple beer. It's just like 10 pounds of one grain, easy mash, easy hop schedule, easy everything. And it was just like the mash got super stuck for no reason.
Oh, yeah.
And I had to fight with it for like 30, 45 minutes. And I finally got it done and got everything set up and everything finished. And actually the beer ended up being 2% higher than it was supposed to be, which means I got some kind of crazy efficiency out of just stirring the crap out of the mash to get it unstuck, which is nuts because it was supposed to be 5% and it turned out 7%. But yeah, I guess what I wanted to say is that it was a really difficult brew day, just like playing Dark Souls.
Oh, yeah. Can I put some damn ginger in this already?
What is wrong with you?
I love it. I just like,
Okay.
it's really good. You just put a little extra ginger in it.
Yeah. I was going to say you should break it too
Oh.
to make sure that, or like kind of twist it to make sure that
Ooh, girl.
all the all the ginger goodness comes out of it.
I broke it.
Put that in there. Let it, ooh.
I like ginger.
Ginger's good. Who's Ginger? Much better.
It's just the smell with the ginger is like elevated so much by just a little more ginger.
It's really drinkable for being more alcohol than I expected.
Yeah.
And the ginger actually helps with that too. It makes it more refreshing.
Yeah, I know that was one of your goals was to make it refreshing. And I do think it is definitely that.
Overall, I think the beer turned out really well.
Success.
Yes. We hit all the notes we wanted to. We had the nice lemongrass and ginger, which is refreshing and revitalizing, and we had such a nice color. And it's just...
It's a first draft, too.
Yeah.
First draft.
We could definitely always revisit Dark Souls later if we wanted to make a stout or any kind of other Dark Souls-esque beer. In the future, we're actually thinking about splitting these videos into two. We're going to have dose. Yeah. First video would be the discussion, and then the second video would be the brewing and the tasting. So if that sounds cool to everybody, let us know. We're definitely interested in everyone's feedback. We might even just go for it and see how it goes.
Brewing takes a long time, so that's kind of why I think maybe splitting the videos into two would be a smart move.
Yeah. Like always, we're going to put the recipe in the description, so if you want to make it yourself, you can go for it. Let us know how it turned out. Maybe add a little more ginger than I did. Just remember, if you like our videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel and make sure that you get notified whenever new videos come out, because we like to do all that stuff. All right. Well, until next time, keep your Dark Souls in your pants pocket. This ginger, you gonna eat it?
Pickle pea, pump-a-rum crow.
Are you okay?
I just opened it to a random page.